to go somewhere else. And we're just pushing that envelope by being smarter. And we can make every mobile creation every day about a different topic, or about every week about a different topic, and then we can get that message out.
Even more so, what we could do is turn around and really organize it and have splinter groups and occupy multiple places at once. You turn around and you stress their resources as much as possible. Make them work for it.
Mike was saying, I'm not saying it's the right way to go about it, but I'd like to see us have some kind of like bucket list, and instead of like diffusing our attentions to like multiple issues at once, I'd like us to tackle them one by one so that we have that unity. We need that. The mass of people without unity is worthless. I mean, if like a group of us are like colored working on health reform, student loans or whatever, and separated, we're all going to look really confusing to the rest of the public. So to have a single message and clear demand and tackle it one by one and go up the ladder, that would be the best way to go about it.
There's about 5-ish minutes left on this. I'd love to see people who haven't spoken yet, to encourage all voices to speak out, give an opinion. And we're just going to stack it that way. So, Tommy.
Alright, I was just going to make another suggestion for what we can do. Like occupy these sidewalks outside of banks, health insurance companies, all these bastards in this situation. So I'm just throwing that out there, and they can ship to us when we do that. Just throwing that out there. And we will signs, protest, and occupy.
We had a Facebook discussion a few weeks ago, and I think Kira randomly said something like, "I'm going to have a Occupy running group." And she was saying it totally joking, but it makes sense. Like if you could run by a bank every day to the point where they started closing them down for 15 minutes, it's going to run by. Has anyone ever done a survey of people's interests? Because we have a lot of like affinity groups that have different interests, but maybe if it's already happened, I'm just not aware of it. But maybe that could be an action item for movement building, so we can actually, if we're thinking about we actually want to make demands, we can see. Even if people have really different interests, specifically, what things do actually overlap. We should actually know that.
So my concern is that anytime we talk about finding demands that everyone can agree in, I'm afraid we're talking about an impossibility, which is why I was saying earlier that the phrase "shit's fucked up" is about as good as we're going to get, because if we get any more specific than that, there's going to be disagreement.
Can we test that really quick?
No. Hold on just a second. We'll clear this stack, and then I think that there might be an interesting couple of tests.
This conversation is confirming what I took as a sense of things coming into this. I assert again that I believe we have a consensus to reoccupy this spring. Okay? And I would add one more thing that maybe I didn't say, but I should have said it more clearly. I think it's reoccupy public space this spring. Okay? And I think we have that. As far as this conversation about the content of that, I don't think we should be trying to rush to judgment right now. Your idea shouldn't be doing that. Think of it, we're beginning a conversation that's going to take like 3 weeks, 2 or 3 weeks, and we're going to discuss it, and out of that, we're going to have a higher level of content than what we all have. I'm ready for this discussion. I think other people are.
And that's close to the 10-minute mark. Nick, you had a suggestion?
Well, we can do it eventually. I was just going to say something like we can test and see if people don't agree. So I'm just going to try it out and see what happens. I don't know. But does anybody think, let's go, does anybody think that the bank bailouts, how they were done, were a good idea? Right? So, I mean, well, we can agree. We can agree. We're diverse, but there are some things.
So, at this point, do we feel like we need more time to discuss the whys and wherefores, or are we good saying that can happen at movement building, that can happen between ourselves? In the meantime, we can take each other out to lunch, we can talk, and we get to know each other a little more. All that stuff. And in that case, we can move on into, what was the main
would even say anything from India. We're going to make an announcement about it. I'm wondering if we could have passed the proposal rather than do a tip check on reoccupying the spring, and then make an announcement, make that be something that's fit, you know. And possibly the idea of joining the activation and have voting at the front there and having a big dinner and everything. I thought that was my idea, but somebody made that, and it seemed like it's an attractive idea to a lot of people like that. So those are, but it's really open. What are we going to do on May 8th?
All right, well, let's go ahead and do the formal process on reoccupation of this spring sometime public place. Let's call the formal sort of thing. First of all, where am I now? Not the formal discussion. Yes, this is the process. Live stream ended. We have anyone with very strong concerns of a deal-breaking nature that feel like this is exactly what we should not do. We should not be reoccupying this spring at all. Okay. And people, do you want to speak more to that? Just because, you know, when somebody talks or, you know, has a strong
I really do. I really think that on a grassroots level, we're really affecting a lot of change. And I think we can shoot ourselves in the foot really easily if we just go into this like we did last night. I don't know how many of you guys witnessed what was going on last night. We shot ourselves in the effing foot last night. You know, man, go on Oregon Live right now and see how the rest of the city, because whether we want to believe that we're the revolutionaries or we're the elite, this whole city is one big team. And we're not going to go to like Mecca without the rest of the city. We all go together. And if they hate us, it's going to make our job a lot harder. And going into it without intelligent planning is going to make them hate us. And we're going to be right back to where we were in the parks, with Lars Larson chasing us around, Victoria Taft chasing us around. And I think if we do it, no, it doesn't have to happen that way. Here. We can take the moral high road. We can take the moral high road and have average Joe on the couch be like, you know what? I kind of like the way they did it this way. But if we don't have a consensus plan, I'm not in that. You guys know where I live, in my house. But I still support you guys. I'll still kick down a door with you.
Thanks, Jesse.
I'll still do it against my better will.
It wasn't an private. That was out of his bachelor's. So that, I just want to keep continuing through the consensus process. So we heard a strong consensus.
So what? Okay, so in
We did. We were just, yeah. So we're talking together.
okay, so okay, I'm sorry. Anyways, so I'm hearing that might possibly be something that can be resolved in the evolutionary process. So it's a strong concern that you have that maybe needs to be expressed in the form of a friendly amendment. Is that what I'm hearing?
And for that to happen, we have to go back and have an evolutionary process, which through our discussion, I had sort of assumed we had to have. But perhaps I've assumed wrong. Can we go back for evolutionary discussion, y'all? Yeah. Clarifying questions? Sure. I'm not sure there's enough information to clarify. What? So, to reframe, what we have been talking about is preoccupation somewhere this spring. Public space was added in. And no more details than that, not going forward with no more discussion. This is our preliminary. And Jim,
I think it's very friendly to add an amendment that says something like this, is that we're going to begin preparing for it now, and we're going to do a good job and really do that effort. I don't want to have some little thing where a few people go off and do something. I want to do it and be successful. And I think that's the consensus. That's what everybody wants. I don't think anybody here talking about doing some poor job. So I think it's a friendly amendment.
okay, so let's do the evolution. We have some minutes for the evolution, no worries. Who has ideas that you want to throw into this discussion? I'll recognize folks that haven't talked yet first. Kelly, you, Michelle, Kelly.
I think we can think of the reoccupation as mobile, maybe in a certain place at a certain time, but it's mobile and it's organized. I think we should have bike parks that we can space, move on, build another garden, move on. People don't want to build a garden. They can just sit there and hold their sign and have their philosophical conversation. Do whatever they want.
I think there are a lot of great ideas, but to satisfy your concern, I think we need to agree that it'll be carefully planned and supported by the deep democracy, the vast majority of us, and done with PR in mind, because that's your...
I'll just say, if this is going to happen, an issue, the main issue that everybody needs to focus on, Federal Reserve, major world banks controlling everything, the mechanism of corporations as people, that's a great catchphrase, but we need to focus on the actual core issues that can grasp the entire populace. Don't have every issue under the sun. Address the disease, not the symptom. I cannot personally occupy. I have a business to run, but I am in support of people occupying to bring attention to the core issues. Just don't be smoking weed in the middle of everyone. Don't have people that the common average American's gonna be completely embarrassed to be associated with. You gotta do it right, people. That is all.
Oh, it says that. How could you be so much against just saying a vague occupy? Because we didn't even say if it would be 24 hours or just, during between 8 and 6 or something. So it's not set what it is. So you can't be against it because there's nothing to be against, basically. Hour-wise or space-wise. You could just be little pop-up things.
We are in the evolutionary phase. We just spent like 30 minutes discussing it. It's a very short topic. It's just an intent to occupy. It's not laying down the rules upon which we're going to occupy, which we do need be very understanding of what we're going to do and try to make it successful. And I believe the friendly evolutionary amendment that I would like to offer to that is that we make that a condition of our reoccupation.
How do we feel about that amendment? Looks like that.
Looks like we might need to rephrase the amendment. Can you phrase it formally so that live stream can hear it and seems like we have some different clarity.
Simplify, exactly, please.
Simplify amendment. That we would not reoccupy unless we have substantial discussion about the logistics and the messaging before we actually, and come to consensus around those before we do. This is a preliminary discussion around the intent to do so.
You're saying that that's maybe not meeting your need?
I'm just saying, how do we, as a collection of autonomous people, prevent stuff like last night from happening?
Prevent it?
So then we're just talking. So then we're just, unless we have a stance, unless we have an authoritative stance, how occupy more
prevent it?
Okay. There was one more person left on. Hold on, present. So we have this amendment put forth. And to accept that amendment, it looked like that was getting accepted. Did people have questions specifically to that amendment?
I would like to state that the whole proposal with the amendment included as one statement. We will possible. I think I can phrase it right now. Okay. Occupy Portland intends to occupy public space this spring. We begin to prepare for that now. We are going to prepare well. I mean, that says it, doesn't it?
Is there any other question around that? That is the proposal where it sits now. Is there general acceptance of the amendment I saw? Okay. Thank you, Jim, for restating. Antonio, you left us.
Well, yeah, just all these concerns and all these ideas. I would like to see us talk to the public again. Have an intent somewhere at Waterfront Park. So a lot of people out there we can communicate to and have them join in this effort. So I'd like to have that discussion. Maybe we have all these things as, you know, like what we agreed on, have fun, paper and share with people and say these were our consensus of what we'd like to see. What do you think? And have them join that fun. So, just want to make that part of this question.
So this is a little bit out of line, but I want to know from Jesse, what exactly about a reoccupation do you think creates bad members that we can move forward?
Man, it's a hard one to be concise in my answer. I don't want us to look like freeloading bums. I want us to look like revolutionaries, man. You know, Sun Tzu would not go and just be like, hey, I'm gonna sit in the park, this shit sucks. You know, I want us to be strategic. I want us to be concise. I want us to have points. You know, I want people to know to stay out of front of the news cameras. You know, I feel like we've learned a lesson coming out of eviction night, and we worked really hard to improve our image. And I think we can take 50 steps backwards by taking one dumb step forward. Because people, I mean, you know, I'll defer. I'll do whatever you guys want. I promise. I love you guys so much. I'll do whatever you guys want. I just really want us to do it strategically, man. Just really want it to be strategic. Super. Like, everything.
What Antonio was saying, it already exists basically with the information center that we had.
Yeah, exactly. Because if we get that information from the public, if the city complains that what we're doing is bad, we'll tell the city that we're talking to the public about it and get their back.
So essentially what we have St. Francis, the information center,
Talk about this subject to everybody.
So that instead of being locked in at a four corner building that no one knows exists, bring it out to the public so that everyone can see and come and ask questions. That's what I'm saying. Because it already exists. It's not like it's
Thank you for that clarity.
About reoccupation, ask them what their needs are, what their concerns are, ensure that what we have talked about, and then when we do it, we tell the city that we talked about it. The public is went out there.
Are there any more evolutionary suggestions and amendments, Kelly?
Portland is known for having a great public involvement process, so I think that we should totally support this proposal. And I would like to take it further. Go to the city of public involvement and say, hey, we're engaging citizens in important issues that we can help us. They may not, but the approach that we do it like totally at every level and above board. We would go to public involvement, the city office of public involvement, and say we want to talk to people about this.
And is this a part of the reoccupation effort?
This is the information and outreach that's planning it. In order to plan it properly, we need to properly do outreach and information. So that would be part of that.
So is this an idea that we want to keep in mind while we move forward with the proposal, but it's not necessarily an evolutionary amendment?
It's defining planning well as doing public engagement.
Okay, so we want to evolve the proposal by defining. Okay. Okay, thank you.
I just want to say I'll be happy to do that as the engineers. We'll discuss these things, you know, give me a pop-up tent, I'll go out there for you guys. Go out together.
All right. So again, this is just about the reoccupation and tying amendments and suggestions into reoccupation beyond other great ideas to do. Okay. So, without seeing anyone else wanting to speak towards evolving the process or reoccupation, Jim and Jess restated it. Does anyone need that restated again before we go through the formal consensus process? Don't ask. We got it. Does anyone want to restate it? We're good to go. Good to go is what I'm hearing. So, people with strong concerns of a deal-breaking nature, where you might actually leave the movement and you think this is a bad way for Occupy to go, please speak up now. All right. Seeing none. People that would like to stand aside from this decision, who don't have strong feelings one way or another and are willing to let the group move forward with what the group thinks is best. This is your moment to be recognized. Stand asides. Got one.
Seeing
two, three. Three stand asides. People that would like to go forward with this proposal for reoccupation this spring, public space with good planning.
Take the win!
I'm seeing that over overwhelmingly supported.
Online, you have 2 yeses and 1 stay.
1 nay online? Okay.
4 yeses.
One stand aside. All right. Sweet.
She changed her mind.
It's not with you yet, so there's 5 yeses.
All right. So that's our big proposal.
All right.
Announce.
I think I'll stop
we also
recording
had
now.
The idea around
That was good.